Howdy YouTube, this is Michael from Team Purrely. We're here with a deck profile of Toby, who got top 16 at the Santa Clara Regionals. How's it going, Toby?
It's going pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Alright, so you got top 16. With what deck? What were you playing?
I was playing Purrely.
Oh, okay, awesome. How'd the deck perform? How were your matchups?
I think it performed a lot better than I thought it would, but I also dodged a lot of the matchups that I expected. So I was preparing more for Kashtira, Super Heavy, and the Mirror, and I actually ended up playing no Super Heavies, no Purrelys. I played 4 Eldritch, 3 Kashtira, 1 Marincess, and 1 Live Twin Sprite. I think it performed a lot better into those matchups than I expected with the hand traps, and the side deck definitely did very well.
Excellent. Alright, if you want, let's just go ahead and just get right into the profile, yeah?
Sure, sounds good.
Alrighty, so
I played 3 Purrely, 3 Lily. Wouldn't play any less. This one's really good for playing into interruptions. It's not hard once per turn, which a lot of people didn't know, and that was a huge advantage throughout the tournament. This one is hard once per turn, which makes it a very big choke point. I got gammaed on the Pure Lily a lot, and that was very unfortunate. But it was still good, and you needed to play it because there were times where in testing, I would lose games just from playing 2 because I was trying to see how it would work, and it just didn't work out. So definitely enjoyed playing 3. I think you need to play it.
okay. Makes sense to me.
And then maxing out on all of the names. So 3 of the My Friend, 3 of the Pretty, 3 Delicious, 3 Happy, and 3 of the new Sleepy Memory. I think you absolutely have to play all of these cards at these ratios. In siding, and oftentimes going second into games 2 or 3, one of these would go out just because going second, you just needed to see some of your other cards in the side to be able to break their board. But going first, this card is really crazy. I actually had a game where my opponent dropped Nibiru when I threatened a plump with 5 materials, and so I asked for anything on resolution, and he dropped Nib, and so I got to add 3 back, and I made a second plump with 5 materials and slapped a Nori on top, and that was just game. So very, very good card. And then the other thing that's really cool is it can add any Purrely card. It doesn't have to just be the quick play spells, and so there were times where I got a little bit lucky finding either a normal summon sometimes in very awkward spots to be able to make a Zeus without activating the effect, just to play around interruptions, such as Fender, or being able to search out the field spell and the trap, of which I play 1 of each. Pretty Memory is really, really good. So this is one of the only 2 quick play spells that you can activate in the draw phase right now, which is Pretty and the Sleepy. This allows you to play around Droll, allows you to play around Veiler. Really, really solid, because sometimes getting Veilered on one of your small monsters really, really sucks. And so it definitely came up where the life gain actually mattered a lot of times, so that I didn't get killed. And the removal also was very important. There were times where my opponent put a floodgate down, such as there can be only 1, and I already had the beauty on board, and so I was able to use the effect, get rid of the floodgate, and then play the game from there. Delicious. A lot of people are saying that this is the best one. It's good because it allows you to make the plump and gain a lot of materials, but I actually didn't go for plump a lot of the times. Going first, I would go for plump, but especially going second, trying to break a board, it was a little too risky going for this, but this also opened up the OTK lines a lot. The second effect of plump also came up, which I'll go into later. The Happy, this one protects from card effect destruction, and this was extremely important. A lot of people would drop Ogre on the My Friend, and being able to happy memory protect it from getting destroyed so that I would actually be able to resolve the effect was absolutely crazy. People would also try to drop Ogre on the Purrely so that it wouldn't resolve its effect, and I'd also be forced to use the happy there. Sleepy Memory, this card, everyone just knows it as the one that draws you cards, but it did come up to help protect me from taking lethal damage for a turn, because it protects the first damage that you would, the next damage that you would take that turn to make it 0. And I didn't actually go for the draw combo a lot of the times, just because it was risky. It played into whatever side cards my opponents were running. There was only one game where it was absolutely crazy. I ended up having like 18 cards in hand because I just kept drawing so many cards.
Jeez.
But outside of that, it wasn't that much. A lot of times you just go for, you just draw like 4 cards with 2 of these underneath your plump or your other XCs, and then you use the trap to make a Noir on top and draw 2 more. Only 1 field spell and 1 purely leap. Honestly,
I feel like it's pretty standard, honestly. But
it's been pretty standard, but I could see bumping up the ratios on either the trap or the field spell. I didn't miss it because opening these and not opening up the rest of the cards was unfortunate. I'll have to keep testing. At one point I was on 2 of the trap. Shout out to Mark. But it just didn't come up enough for me once I learned how to manage my resources better. So yeah, that's the engine. Very solid. Non once per turn effects are absolutely crazy. It allowed me to play through the Cashier board a lot.
absolutely.
So the discard engine that I chose to run, I was very back and forth on this all week long going into the tournament. I ended up going back to the Dark World engine. In testing, I did lose a lot of games from top decking Snow, but a lot of times, in retrospect, after I reviewed how I actually played the games, I lost much earlier than that. Getting into those top deck situations, not managing my resources properly, having this engine allows you to play around Droll so much better, and it also matters for the side deck because it gives you another out to Floodgates. There's a post side, I often sided out one of these. I'm not sure if it's correct or not, but it was fine for me.
It seemed to work.
Yeah, it definitely helped out. And then the brow draw was very clutch. I often drew into a hand trap or something. There are awkward situations where if you don't open either the pretty or the sleepy, you have to normal summon one of these and then play the game. Thankfully, that didn't happen, maybe only once during the tournament. But in testing, it definitely came up, so it was kind of awkward. But yeah, I did test with the Shadal engine, but I like this more.
Makes sense.
And then hand traps. So I played 13 hand traps. I played 3 Imperm, 3 Droll, 3 Ogres, 3 Ash, and then the last slot was 1 Mourner. At one point, I was playing Triple Tactics Talent. I realized that when you're playing in the draw phase a lot, which is the ideal, you just don't trigger hand traps. And if you're getting hand trapped in the main phase, oftentimes it's Droll, and so Talents just didn't do enough for me. Also, I wanted to be able to play better going second or drawing things off the top. And the one of Mourner came up a lot, especially against my Cash tier matchups. They summoned a monster, I Mournered it, they passed or dealt 25, and it was really clutch. Ash is just generic. I didn't play super heavy, but in testing, these were absolutely crazy against super heavy samurai.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, the main deck felt really good to me. I'll have to keep testing this, check on ratios, and see how I felt about all that. But all of these cards came up. They're very solid. Yeah, wouldn't really change it too much for now.
How many cards in the main?
40 cards.
Okay, nice. So there's even 40. Gotcha.
Yep.
All right, so extra deck next?
Extra deck, yeah. So I'll start off with the Purrely cards. So 2 Noir, 2 Beauty, 2 Plump, 1 Happy. I really liked all of the ratios on these. This card was absolutely insane. I stole so many games because my opponents didn't realize that this card basically said take 8k if they summoned something in attack mode. And there were opponents who saw it, learned, and then summoned everything in defense mode, and then that just allowed me to make Zeus in the next game. So
Yikes.
just the threat of having this especially against Kashtira was crazy. Plump, Plump just does Plump things. I played 4 Eldritch this tournament, and so Plump sucking up their traps in the grave before they could trigger in the end phase. That was really, really solid. 2 Beauty, I go back and forth on this one. I could see cutting 1, but it definitely came up. I used this card a lot more. And then Noir, nothing else to say about Noir.
One of the best cards in the deck.
Yep. On happiness, one thing that's really important is the secondary effect when you attach a quick play spell. It allows you to bounce a back row. Against Eldritch, that was absolutely amazing. Once I had this set up, they just couldn't grind back into the game. So then we have 2 Zeus because Kashtira also, because this deck just makes Zeus and you want to be able to play it. 1 Downerd, 1 Robin, 1 Assembled Nightingale, 1 Fucho, 1 Virus, and 1 Moon. Zeus is Zeus. Downerd just gets you to the 4 material Zeus. Robin was really solid, actually against Cam. Shout out to Cam. It made him play very awkwardly with Sprite. He didn't realize that it wasn't once per turn, and so could have just normal summoned to beat over it. But
non-once per turn cards. Those cards are strong, man.
Yep. And then the Fucho and Nightingale. Fucho's not necessarily standard. I see a lot of people cutting it. I really liked it because it allowed me to break the Kashtira board, especially when they would summon everything in defense mode. I just crash, take the damage, and then slap Zeus on top, wipe everything. The Virus Swordsman, this was for super heavy. Once you droll them, they usually go for the Baguska pass line, and so the idea was you'd be able to turn 2 bodies, beat over the Baguska, and then play in main phase 2. Didn't see super heavy, so this card never came up, but
in theory, it's how it works.
In practice, it was really, really good. Allowed you to, make a Zeus in main phase 2 and then wipe the rest of their board. And then this card was absolutely crazy. With all the Eldritch, I was able to pop skill drains, as well as other random floodgates that they put up. This was absolutely crazy. I put this in as a last-minute addition because I realized I had 14 cards in my extra deck. So very happy I found the 15th.
Nice, excellent.
Okay, and then onto the side deck. Side deck was absolutely crazy. Every single card came up. So 3 Xyz Encore, 3 Vanity's Fiend, 3 Ghost Bells, Gamma Package, Pink, and Grapha. This made the Dark World engine very, very good. This also allowed me to play through a lot of those floodgates that the Eldritch players were throwing at me. And so, being a mandatory Chain Link 1, it actually gets chain blocked by the Purrely cards when you summon them from deck. So, really, really liked it. I'll have to keep testing, but for the event, it performed very well. Pank is Pank. I only saw it in, I think, 2 of the games, but it allowed me to break the board. It was just the 15th card in the side deck, and yeah, it performed well. Nice. Gamma is very, very strong. I was back and forth on maining or siding it, but ended up going for a more diverse hand trap lineup. I also just, for some weird reason, I always draw the driver. So putting it inside was great. Ideally, I wanted it for shifter. It was also good into just the rest of the field. Didn't see it when I got shifter twice against Kashtira. Very unfortunate 2-0.
Yikes.
Ghost Bell in testing, branded with the gimmick puppet lock was extremely tough, and I just wanted to have extra cards. It actually came up more for the Eldritch matchup, so
that's funny.
I don't know what else to say. It definitely came up. And then Vanity's Fiend. So this was more of a theory pick. We had considered Performa Pal, Rainbow Magician initially, and that was mostly just to hate out super heavy, and we just Nation Mod, shout out to Nate, suggested Vanity's Fiend because it's just better into the rest of the field, and in theory, you know, you make a Nora and then you normal summon this with your extra body. How do they kaiju over the rest of your field? This actually was game against a lot of the matchups when I ended on this, and people just looked at it, picked it up, read it, put it back down, read it again, and just went next game. And then Xyz Encore, this card was amazing. It was in theory for the Cashier as well as the mirror. Didn't see the mirror, but definitely saw Cashier. I actually, game 2 against Daniel Gio, I bricked on 2 of these as well as unplayable. I set one, and I hand trapped him a little bit. I used this on his Shangri-Ira, and then on my turn cheated out the game with Happiness. So
Nice.
very, very solid. He learned after game 2 to not summon his Rise Heart in attack mode.
Yikes.
So yeah, that's the deck.
Awesome. Any shout-outs you want to give to anyone?
Yeah, shout out to Card Art. Great local. Shout out to Legends. Play there a lot. Shout out to Jerry. He lent me all the Purrely cards because mine are sitting in Germany. So wouldn't have been able to play the deck if not for him. Shout out to the rest of the guys in the bakery group chat. The boys are really great testing partners. Shout out to the rest of the team, Piparibo. And shout out to Nathan Shimada. He helped tune a lot of these. These were very last minute decisions made at Card Art, like literally the night before, and they all came through. And then lastly, shout out to Head to Head Battles. I wore the anti-sacking club and didn't get sacked except for one round. And then lastly, Tapio cards. Make sure to ask for a response every time. Definitely gave me a very lucky charm.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the deck profile. And this is Team People signing off, and until next time, take care.